Boker Tov, everyone. Shalom. Once again, Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina. It is Sunday, May 17th. We are in a new Torah portion, Bamidbar. It is the fourth book of the 5 books of the Torah, and it's also called the Book of Numbers, usually because the theme of the Torah portion, not only this portion, but the whole book, is establishing a census and counting the people, which we'll talk about another day. What I want to talk about this morning is one of my favorite, there are numerous midrashim, numerous explanations. Why was the Torah given Bamidbar, in the desert, or in the wilderness, translated? And why not given in the land of Israel specifically? But, actually we'll get to that in a second. We'll focus really right in the desert. And one of my favorite midrashim says that it was given in the desert because in order for one to acquire the Torah, to really receive the Torah, one has to be hefker, ownerless, like the desert. And hefker is a specific kind of halachic legal term in the Talmud, which means it's like when something is not owned by anyone. So let's say you have an object and you own it, okay, and God forbid you lose it, and you've tried to look for it, it's been 30 days, you've put signs up. Eventually, after a certain period of time, the Talmud says it's no longer an object that you own anymore because you've given up looking for it. It's become just kind of it's no longer someone's because it's completely lost. You've declared it lost. If someone else finds it, it's called hefker. It's not owned by anyone. It's just something in the communal space that anyone can access, basically. So hefker is a specific idea of like, it belongs to no one. And it says not that the Torah only has to be hefker, but you have to be hefker. You, in a sense, have to belong to no one. And I want to just say, like, this beautiful idea is that in the desert, in the wilderness, in order to acquire new wisdom, in order to open your mind to something new, you have to feel open. You have to feel like no one owns your mind. No one owns your thoughts. The way you were yesterday does not have to be the way you're going to be tomorrow. If you really think about it, what is the Torah Mount Sinai? It's the idea, spiritually, that there was a moment where God wanted to reveal, the word is revelation, reveal something to the people. And on the one hand, it's a miracle that God wanted to reveal something. But the other miracle is that the people were open to accepting it, to opening their mind and opening their heart to actually receive new information. I know some would say, what's such a miracle about that? I mean, shouldn't we? We should theoretically. But in practice, many human beings over the course of life become more closed, less interested, less willing, because generally speaking, new information is going to cause us to question not only some of our prior practices, but even expand us. It's going to push us. And generally speaking, there's the whole idea of inertia, staying at rest, wants to stay at rest. I think the same thing is true spiritually. And so the idea of the desert being hefker, being open, means a person is really going to say, hey, I'm going to study the Torah. I want to receive the Torah to open myself up in a new way. And I want to say this connects beautifully to a practice in our tradition. The blessing when you study Torah that we recite actually in the morning prayers, but actually in our synagogue, in many shuls, we recite it before we have a class, is Baruch Atah Adonai la'asok b'divrei Torah. The mitzvah is not to know, bless you, Adonai our God, that ruling universe, who command us to know the whole Torah. The mitzvah is la'asok b'divrei Torah, to busy ourselves, to occupy ourselves in the study of Torah. Meaning, it would be great to acquire all the Torah knowledge. Believe me, I wish I had more Torah knowledge at my fingertips, and I'm constantly striving for it. But the mitzvah is not to know the entire Torah by heart, or it's part of study. The mitzvah is to work really hard at it. I think it's the line of the Talmud says, God does not count the, bottom line, God is dependent on us to invest in opening ourselves to it, and even struggling with it, and debating, maybe contradicting, bringing our own opinions, bringing other opinions. But that means we have to be open to it. That's the first thing. And openness allows us to actually toil and work at it. And that's how the Torah enters our hearts and our souls. So why was the Torah given in the desert? I think maybe we'll give a couple examples this week. But one is because it's a place where we demonstrate openness, where we demonstrate hefkerut, kind of like being really owned by nobody, so that we can open our minds to insert and allow something new to come into our heads. And our job is to work at that. It's not easy. The easy way is to stay as we are. The hard way is to actually open ourselves to something new. In this pandemic right now, it's not something we asked for, but there is learning going on if you open yourself to it. There is wisdom to be gained. Some of that's in the Torah, and some of that's inside here. Are we open to it? Are we hefker like the desert? That's the spiritual challenge and maybe intention of this time. Boker Tov, sweet day. May we all become ownerless in a good way to receive wisdom and Torah on this day and many days to come. Shalom, Boker Tov.